Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
Political columnists covering national politics are often given over to the idea of making bold or even outrageous predictions, believing that if they're right, everyone will remember, and if they're wrong, people will probably forget. But as Washington political columnist for LibertyNation.com, I decided to go on record more than 1 year ago, precisely July 6th, 2019, with what I thought at the time was a well-reasoned prediction that Donald Trump would win big this year, exceeding the 304 electoral votes he won last time, and would win at least 350. Of course, these early predictions always have to be tempered by the universal warning, barring unforeseen events. Well, since that prediction of over a year ago, we have certainly had unforeseen events, an unprecedented pandemic, which shut down most of the country for 3 months, racial balkanization, the rise of an openly Marxist organization pretending to be about civil rights, and violence in the streets like none we've ever seen since the radical days of the 1960s. I think those qualify as unforeseen events. So Trump is behind in the polls, and uncertainty about this election reigns, but not in the mind of the editor-in-chief of LibertyNation.com. In a column this week entitled Bracing for 2020, Why Deplorables Should Fear No Evil, Leesa K. comes strong to the keyboard with a certainty about the election which few others seem to share at this point, writing, quote, "For while the journey may be strewn with obstacles, victory is assured for the man in the Oval Office." And Leesa joins us now. Hello, Leesa.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, first, I want you to share with the audience what happened 4 years ago, before LibertyNation.com even existed, when you wrote a column similar to the one this week, but it was right before Election Day, but you were told by the proprietor of the site where your work was being published at the time that they wouldn't run it because it might jinx the outcome. So here's your chance to share what you wrote then and how it might be similar to your column this week.
Well, I wrote that there was a possibility of a landslide for Trump, that he would surely win and surely do well. And I think that panned out. And it's hard to remember, but the polls, really, everybody did not see this coming. I thought there was a lot of people who just weren't willing to say what they felt about the election, and they would sort of come up to you at parties and say, "I'm for Trump." Rasmussen's White House poll watch has narrowed the lead between Trump and Biden from 10 points to 3 points. That's a lot in a week.
Okay, and Rasmussen was, of course, the most accurate predictor, along with the LA Times tracking poll in 2016. Let's get into specific reasons that you give for a Trump victory. And the first point is what you call the pendulum effect.
You know, between COVID-19 and the BLM thing, you know, we've had a real situation of everything moving towards the progressive left. And this is generally a centrist country.
The second point you make, Leesa, echoes a concept first introduced during the days of Richard Nixon, the silent majority. Are you saying there are likely to be even more of those so-called silent voters this time around?
Oh, I think indeed, especially in this environment where you speak up at your own risk. I mean, let's face it, there's just a lot more animosity now about free speech than there even was in 2016. I think that Americans don't like confrontation, and so they're going to keep to themselves, but that's not going to mean they're not going to go to the polls and exercise their franchise. There are a lot of people between what I call the sea to shining sea, the people that I also call the folks that plant, grow, and harvest those amber waves of grain.
Leesa, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Tim.
Leesa K. Donner, editor-in-chief of LibertyNation.com.